First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rokakwadash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'ashem means in the name, Rokah means spirit, and Quadash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also, to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. In today's video, I want to go into how you can see that there's a Most High by just looking outside. And this video is inspired by, I was watching one of those nature documentaries just to, pass some time and just relax. And when you start looking at nature and how these animals operate, you find that it's just completely, magnificent. It's something that every single animal has a certain life pattern, a certain migration that you look at and you're like, how in the hell are they doing that? And, I'm talking about, I was watching how a little bird, literally hatches, and as soon as it hatches with no food, it's swimming for 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles. Another bird, on an island, waits for, his father to come back with food for over 3 weeks and just sits in the same spot, not moving. The fact that, a shark, migrates for a bunch of miles, to go and find food at the perfect timing, and the shark knows based on, the magnetic pull of the earth that it's time to go. So when you look at all these things, they all have an intelligence to them. Everything has a reasoning. And, where does that reasoning come from? It comes from the Lord's creation, his mind, his thoughts, a perfect creation. Even when you look at the human body, you'll find that everything is intricately, complicated. And this is a system that is not just random. It's not by evolution. No, everything is thought out in the body. Every single thing is thought out in the body. So, I was watching the show, and it just makes me think that damn, the Lord is really, he's really him. When he said that his name is I am, that's what he means. He said, I am, he is everything. And you can see his imprint in every single thing we see. Okay, he is everything. So I'm gonna get a couple scriptures here I got from ChatGPT. This is Romans chapter 1 and verse 20. It says, for since the creation of the world's God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. Right, so we can understand the Most High by what we see. Right now I'm looking at the TV, and, I see a group of alpacas, crossing the road in a family. I was watching also how, the locusts, they were going into, how the locusts transform when they come out to eat, when the sun comes out during the summer. And it's just insane the way that they capture, the locust first starts on the ground, jumping around, eating. But after a certain while of just jumping, it literally just starts hanging, cocoons up, and grows wings. Grows wings. Looks like a cricket, and it cocoons and grows some wings and starts flying and looking for food. And they were talking about how, when these locusts start flying, they start making a mega swarm. And in total, it's billions of locusts just flying, devouring everything that they see. And, these are pretty big-ass creatures. Billions, okay? Billions just traveling for thousands of miles non-stop, just eating everything that they see in sight. And, I'm watching that, and it makes me think of, the plague that the Heavenly Father brought upon Egypt. One of those plagues was those locusts, how they just ate everything in sight. And just seeing, a little clip of that, how these animals move, really puts it in perspective, the way that the Lord be moving himself, the judgments that were brought upon this earth. So it's insane. Billions, okay? Billions of locusts, okay? Just covering everything, taking everything. And they know exactly where they're going. You know, they're all doing the same thing. That's something that I noticed with all these, animal shows, is that when they specify on one animal, all the animals do the same thing. And they all move in like herds. Let me see who's here. Just give me a second.